destroy enormous tracts of land, adversely affect long-term weather patterns by blocking out the sun with vast quantities of ash and sulfur dioxide, and threaten mankind itself by triggering a new ice age. Fortunately, supervolcanoes are extremely rare, and eruptions even more so. In fact, the last time such a volcano manifested itself was thought to be around 74,000 years ago on Sumatra. But when the volcano named Toba blew, it was believed to have been the most powerful eruption for the last 2 million years. The lava which flowed from this volcano covered nearly 8,000 square miles, and the material spewed into the atmosphere cooled the planet for years to come. The eruption also left a giant crater or depression in the ground known as a caldera, about 30 miles across. More than 2 million years earlier, an even greater supervolcano eruption took place in what would become Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming, North America. It created a caldera 60 miles across, discerned only when scientists were examining aerial pictures of the entire area. Much to their concern, they also discovered that the ground in the park was nearly 30 inches higher than when last measured in 1923. This was clear and alarming evidence of a massive buildup of magma, or molten rock, under the caldera. The Yellowstone supervolcano has erupted 3 times in 2,200,000 years, with the last occurring 640,000 years ago. Some scientists believe that the next eruption is already overdue. If and when it happens, the consequences not just for North America, but for the whole world might be too awful to contemplate. Although there are usually plenty of warning signs that a volcano is building up towards a major eruption, it is nonetheless shocking when it actually happens. 1980, Mount St. Helens. On March the 20th, 1980, observers picked up seismograph readings indicating minor earthquake activity around 20 miles north of Mount St. Helens, a stratovolcano in Washington State, Northwest America. 7 days later, as the earthquakes continued, the volcano suddenly roared into life, spewing ash 20,000 feet into the atmosphere and forming a 250 feet wide crater on the summit. During the first week in April, there was another eruption, lasting 5 hours. Then there was an ominous development as the north side of the mountain began to bulge. As this was a sure sign of enormous pressure building beneath the rock face, a state of emergency was declared. A mass evacuation of people living in the area got underway, and the National Guard was drafted in to prevent anyone getting in too close. By early May, the bulge was 2,000 feet long, 500 feet high, and still growing. Finally, at 8:30 on the morning of May the 18th, Mount St. Helens exploded with a roar which could be heard 200 miles away. One side of the mountain was blown away completely, as a vast plume of smoke and ash rose 12 miles in the air. The force of the explosion knocked down trees 20 miles away and resulted in a crushing torrent of molten rock, ash, and other volcanic material. This poured down over the surrounding country at terrifying speed, killing nearly 60 people and destroying everything in its path, including thousands of acres of forest, farmland, houses, roads, bridges, and railway tracks. Charlie Crisafulli of the U.S. Forest Service recalled the immediate effects of the devastating eruption.
Ash column started being ejected into the atmosphere, eventually circling the globe within 2 weeks, and within 100 miles making the day turn to night. First ash started coming down, then it became dark. Street lights came on, people were driving around with their headlights on, using their windshield wipers to try to rid the ash from their view so they could make it home.
As well as the people who died, the disaster resulted in the death of more than 7,000 big game animals, such as bears, deer, and elk. Since then, Mount St. Helens has been the subject of intense scientific study. No one wants to be caught out if and when it blows away. Mount Pinatubo, the Philippines, 1991. At 1:42 on the afternoon of June 15, 1991, after a series of smaller eruptions, Mount Pinatubo, a stratovolcano on the island of Luzon in the Philippines, exploded and overwhelmed the surrounding countryside. The eruption was followed by a devastating typhoon. By the time it was over, nearly 850 people were dead, 100,000 made homeless, and more than 200,000 acres of farmland ruined. The eruption was the second largest of the 20th century, after Katmai in Alaska on June 12, 1912, and 10 times more powerful than Mount St. Helens. When Pinatubo erupted, it threw so much volcanic material into the atmosphere that temperatures around the world fell for the next 15 months. Rising nearly 6,000 feet above sea level, Pinatubo had remained dormant for the last 600 years. However, there had been warning signs a year early, in 1990, when a fairly major earthquake shook the ground.